What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr, and today I'm going to be bringing you an update to Buster Blader. But this time it's actually going to be an update to the Buster Blader Blue Eyes profile I showed you all before. Now you can play this more pure orientated Buster Blader, and what you do is you take out the Blue Eyes cards themselves, you start opening up the space for either playing more non-engine like Ash Blossoms and Fualosses, Imperms, you name it. But what I quite like about this hybrid is it gives you a very nice consistency approach in order to kind of bridge your Blue Eyes to Buster Blader and then vice versa, because you have direct access to the Blue Eyes Link 1 from both sides of the engine. For the non-engine inside this deck, you'll see as we go through it, but I've decided to go with the Bystials because they have a nice little bit of a bridge between the two decks as well. But what that also adds in the format that we're going into, with a lot of decks right now being like playing the Phoenix package again, they're kind of an interacted hand interaction that could be very useful for you. If your environment does not play those whatsoever, then of course take them out and you start opening up your space for your Ashes, your Fuas and Imperms and so on. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. Starting off with the Buster Blader cards themselves, we're on one Buster Blader and one Buster Blader, the Destruction Swordsman. Playing one-on-one is absolutely fine. You could afford to cut the Buster Blader yourself if you wanted to and just rely on the Buster Blader Destruction Swordsman, but I like the idea of playing one-on-one on this one just because it gives you a little bit more opportunity should you hard see one of these copies, or just gives you discard fodder for later on in the term. Then we're maxing out on the Buster Whelp. You've got no issue with this being your starter. In an ideal world, you kind of want your Sage with Eyes of Blue to be your starter because then it will search out the Buster Whelp for your additional normal summon. But this is still a really good starter to get the Buster Blader combo going. And the idea is with Buster Blader, once you go first, you should be able to lock your opponent down because you turn all of their monsters into dragons, you shift them all to defense, and you negate all of their effects. And it can make it very, very awkward for your opponent to try and break through. You're adding the Blue Eyes into that kind of comparison or that concoction to give you a stronger end field as well, because then what you do is that standard route from the Buster Bladers, you then add like a Spirit Dragon or a Crimson Dragon into a Stardust Surf Dragon, and it just provides you a little bit more protection. We've then got the one Buster Dragon Destruction Sword, so this is how you can lock your opponent out of the extra deck. You don't have to play this card, you could cut it out for a bit more space, and then the Destruction Sword you would send from the deck to the grave of your trap card would be your Buster Whelp. So this can very easily be sided in and sided out, as it's more effective going first than it is for going second. Then an honorary kind of Buster Whelp card, but it can also bridge between Buster Blader and Blue Eyes, is one Jester Conflict. Now this can actually be a small world bridge, which is exactly what we're using in certain scenarios. Now when I mean that is you can't use it to bridge between certain elements, but you can bridge it between stuff like your Buster Whelp because it is a level 1, but that's the only thing it shares. But you can't bridge it with your cards like your Sages, Maidens, and any other level 1s that you play if they are spellcasters. So it's a very specific bridge, but more times than not you'll be using it because it's a dark attribute, and that can help you get to stuff like your Bystials, because then you can bridge from like a Buster Whelp into a Jester Conflict as they're both level 1, and then grab yourself a Bystial because it's a dark. That's pretty much how it can work that way. So using Small World, you can bridge from all types of engines no matter what you need access to. For the track cards, we're on free Prologue at the Destruction Swordsman. You can play less of this. You can also play Trill Tactics Thrust. The idea is that I felt that going first, you need to see this card. You can cut it down if you wanted to, and there are ways to get to it because through your Buster Whelp, your Link 2, you'll be sending a Destruction Sword from deck to grave, being your Destruction Sword of Memories, and you'll be able to search out your Prologue. But he's one of the ones that the Link 2 is so incredibly powerful, and so is your normal Buster Whelp, your Buster Whelp searching this out is so incredibly important that your opponent is always going to interact with it. It's the exact same if you're playing pure Blue Eyes, it's the exact same if you're playing Primite Blue Eyes. More times than not, your first Sage, your first Beryl, anything like that is getting interacted with if your opponent has that Ash, that Imperm. So that's something you've got to be very, very careful of, and that's why I don't mind playing free of it, because it's just one of these ones where it's kind of baiting out an interaction. If the interaction resolves, great, I've got free discard fodder. If it doesn't resolve, then I've still got that option of opening up the Prologue, and that Prologue can then still lead me into the Buster Lock, which is what you're aiming to do. So as you unfamiliar with these cards, your Destruction Swords of Memory, you don't really rely on its first effect, discarding the Destruction Sword card. It's more the second effect to banish it from the grave to special on a Buster Blader, the Dragon Destroyer Swordsman, from the extra deck by banishing its fusion materials from the graveyard. And its fusion materials are a Buster Blader plus a Dragon Monster, which is so incredibly easy to do in this deck. Your Prologue, you send a Destruction Sword card and a Buster Blader monster from the deck to the graveyard, except itself. and then special summon one, except Prologue or Destruction Swordsman, special summon a Buster Dragon from the extra deck or graveyard, but destroy it during the end phase of the next turn. Banish this card from the graveyard, and this turn, Destruction Sword card you control cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect. Now again, you can only use one effect per turn. The idea is that you get access to this, you activate it, you send the Destruction Sword of Memories, but sometimes you can also send your Buster Whelp if you need that monster in the graveyard, and then you banish both of those as your fusion material for your memories, you get your Buster Dragon, and then you completely lock your opponent down. So, moving on to the Blue Eyes cards, we've got 3 Sage Advisor Blue. This is like your ideal starter. There was a combo on my previous video. I might repeat it in this video as well, just so you can kind of see exactly what the deck can do. Starting off with your Sage is going to be one of the best ways to do it, and that's why Small World can be very, very good for you. Or you can also use Where Art Thou, which I did in my previous profile. Then we've got 3 Maidens of White. We all know how good this card is as well to give you access to True Light. That's the one thing you've got to be a little bit careful of, is that if your opponent does try and take out your True Light, being a massive target on its back, that you still have the way to crack back and protect. And that's where your Spirit's Graveyard, on-field Graveyard Negation effect can come into play as well. Then we've got 2 Blue Eyes White Dragon. You could afford to play one. Honestly, I don't think you'd want to. You still need Blue Eyes to be that supporting unit. Like the Blue Eyes is going to be your aggressor. Your Buster Blades are going to be your defenders. So you could afford to play less if you wanted to. But honestly, I think 2 is completely fine. Then we've got 3 Wishes, consistency piece. So add a level 1 Light Tuner. So this can also be your searcher for your Buster Whelp if you need it to be. 1 Raw, get you access to Blue Eyes, Mausoleum, True Light, and then Majesty. And then for the Bestials, I'm on 2 Lubellion. This can also become a bridge as well, but remember it can't bridge from the Buster Whelp or to the Buster Whelp because they're both dragons and lights, but it can bridge you into your spellcasters being your Maiden or Sages, because the only thing that they share is the fact that they're lights. So that's how you can bridge from them as well. The other Destruction Sword that you can bridge with, though, however, is where utilising your Dragon Buster Destruction Sword as the bridge is absolutely fine, because you go from a dragon to a level 1 starter. So you've got everything you need. And then we've got your Bestial Saronir, Baldrake, Druid Swarm, and Magnamut, just pretty standard on this one. Again, you can play less of them if you wanted to. This is just one of the ones that these are basically my extenders, as well as being my hand interactions for this build. You cut them down, you could very easily cut out Saronir, you could cut out Baldrake if you wanted to. Heck, you could even really get rid of Lubellion if you really, really wanted to, and you just play a very small Magnamut, Druid Swarm, and Baldrake engine. Entirely up to you. And then the one Regained. Another bridge that you can search into, that if you feel that you need it, you can go for, or you can just use it as a bridge that you feel that it's not going to be of any use to you in a matchup, is going to be Nibiru. Again, the only thing this shares with either your Sages, your Maidens, or your Buster Whelps is the fact that it's a light. So you could bridge from one to the other very easily. And then speaking of bridge, 2 Small Worlds. Like I said, you could play 1 Small World and 1 Where Art Thou if you wanted to. But what I like about Small World is not only can it get me access to either the Buster side or the Blue Eyes side, and get you access to the Bestial side, and get you access to the extenders in the form of the Jester Conflict, and get you access to the Nibiru. It just has a bit more range than the Where Art Thou. And then the final cards are just consistency cards in Prosperity, 1 for 1, and then Protection in Called by the Grave. Again, take them out if you wanted to. That gives you a little bit more freedom. But the other of the 1 for 1 is it just gives you more consistency to get to stuff like your Sages or your Buster Whelps. Yes, your Buster Whelp is specifically on normal summon, so that's the one you ideally want to be using as your additional summon or your main summon. But you can also just work your way into Sage as well. It's still that level 1 tuner onto the field. It still gets you to discard, and it still allows you to build up. So that's it for the entire main deck. Moving on to the extra deck. So for the extra deck, for the Buster Blader cards, I've got the 1 Buster Blader, the Dragon Destroying Swordsman, and we've got the 1 Buster Dragon. So how do these 2 work in tandem? Very simply, first of all, you'll get your Buster Dragon on the field, and all monsters your opponent controls become Dragon type. Once per turn, if you do not control a Buster Blader monster, you get to target a Buster Blader in your graveyard and special summon it. And then once per turn during your opponent's turn, you get to target a Buster Blader monster you control and equip it with a Destruction Sword monster from the graveyard, and it is a quick effect. So that is how you're going to be able to equip your Buster Blader Destruction Swords, wherever it may be, all the different whelps. There we go. Your Destruction Sword from the graveyard to your Buster Blader. And while this is equipped to Buster Blader monster, your opponent cannot special monsters from the extra deck. Your Dragon Destroying Swordsman, again, must be fusion summoned and can't be special summoned by other ways. It cannot attack directly. It gains 1,000 attack and defense for each Dragon type monster your opponent controls or is in their graveyard. You change all Dragon type monsters or your opponent controls to defense vision, and Dragon type monsters your opponent can possession cannot activate their effects. If it attacks a defense vision monster, inflict piercing battle damage. So your Buster Dragon makes some more dragons. This shifts to defense, negate their effects. Then we've got the one hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, and the idea is that this card can unequip itself from a monster. So once you don't need to worry about your opponent being locked out of the extra deck, you unequip it. You then synchro it with the Buster Dragon to get into the hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, because this will then get destroyed during the end phase of the next turn once you summon it. But then you also have the ability to bring this back with the graveyard with the trap card as well. And then we've got the one Crimson Dragon that can go into your Stardust Divine Dragon, your Ancient Fairy Life Dragon, and your Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit Dragon, which are all going to be targets to be summoned off of the back of your Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon as well. So you can kind of see that you've got an aggressive not game ender, where's the game ender? Game ender there. You've got your target negator there if you can only get one Spirit Dragon. If you can get two Spirit Dragons, you'd actually go into Crimson Dragon and then tag out into your Ultimate Dragon, and then your Crimson Dragon would then tag out itself into the Stardust Surf Dragon. Then you've got your pretty standard Tyrant just to clear everything off in your Ultimate. So Ultimate for the target protection and easy access to this card. And then you've got your Hieratic Seals, Protection Whelp, and then two Spirit Dragons. Now don't worry, I'm going to go back to the Protection Whelp just now. So the Protection Whelp is if it's linked summoned, you get to send a Destruction Sword card from the deck to the grave. Then you get to special summon a Buster Blade monster from your hand. At the end of the battle phase, if your opponent controls no monsters, you get to target a Buster Blade monster you control that did not declare an attack this turn. Inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's attack. Only is each effect once per turn. The idea is that you want to be able to make this card to then send the Destruction Sword from the deck to the grave. So this is just another way of being able to get access to the Destruction Sword trap card, or it may be, Destruction Sword of Memories, so you can banish it from the graveyard and then fusion summon. So in an ideal way, which you'll see in the combo just in a second, you start off with your Buster Whelp. Your Buster Whelp searches you out your Synchro Trap card. Your Synchro Trap card can also send your Destruction Swords of Memories, but you also have ways of sending this different ways. You send one this way, and you can also send this another way, and that's how you can lock your opponent out of the extra deck. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset the field state, and then I'm going to show you that very important 1.5 card combo, so you have everything you need in one tidy video. So I'm going to be back in a second. So the 1.5 card combo involving Sage. Very simple, normal summon down the Sage, grab yourself the Maiden. Now, these can be done in different ways depending on what else you have access to, but the idea is that just going through Sage to Maiden is going to be a very streamlined way of getting a full extra deck lock on your opponent and negating all their effects. So you then use Maiden, discarding this to the graveyard, placing your True Light face up. Use your True Light to set you your wishes. Now, obviously, this step can be semi-bypassed, to not have to use your wishes if you already, your True Light, if you already open up the wishes. So you've got 4 more cards you can play with. Activate the wishes, discarding any random card. I'm just going to choose the Prologue, but it's just the random blank. You're going to grab your level 1 Light Tuner, and then you're going to grab your Roar of the Blue Eyes Dragon. Again, if you've opened up differently, you can actually go for your Majesty instead, and that gives you another line of disruption, but we're just going to get as much on our field as possible. So then what you're going to want to be able to do here is link your Sage of Eyes of Blue off and go into your Spirit with Eyes of Blue. Spirit of Eyes of Blue effect will grab your Mausoleum. Activate the Mausoleum, use Mausoleum, target Spirit, send Blue Eyes. Then use your Spirit Dragon to trigger it off to bring back the Blue Eyes White Dragon, in turn triggering the Maiden's effect in the graveyard to bring itself back to the field. Banish the wishes from the graveyard to equip it with the Neo to give you targeted protection should you need it, but honestly you could save it for the next turn so you've got a much easier and quicker route to get into your Tyrant Dragon should you want to. Then what you're going to want to do here is you can use your additional normal summon and go into the Buster Whelp. This will then allow you to grab your Prologue of Destruction Swords that's going to be set face down. Then what you're going to be able to do is synchro these two off here. You could link into a Hieratic Seals if you wanted to, but we want to also set up our extra deck lock protection, and that's when you're going to go into Production Whelp of Destruction Sword. So this will let you send a Destruction Sword from deck to grave. You can go and send directly the Destruction Buster Whelp, but we're actually just going to send the Destruction Sword of Memories instead. You get both ways no matter how you do it, because you'll also be able to send a Destruction Sword card with the Prologue. So either or, you are in a good position. Then what you're going to want to be able to do here is now when you're going to activate the Roar to bring back your Blue Eyes, and then you're going to be Dragon Locked, but you get to synchro both of these together and get yourself into a Spirit Dragon, so that if your opponent does destroy True Light, you've got that line of protection. And then what you're going to do is you're going to end it here. So this is now in the graveyard. You've got the one set being the Prologue. So as early as you possibly can, you're going to flip the Prologue. Just realised it's a little bit off camera, so let me just bring that up. You're going to flip the Prologue, just put it here. This is going to allow you to send from deck to grave a Destruction Sword card and a Buster Blader. So if you sent the Trap card previously, you'd send the Buster Destruction Sword. If you sent the Destruction Sword, you send the Trap card, so either or. So you can send both of these to the graveyard. Then what you're going to be able to do is you're then going to be able to special summon out your Buster Dragon. And then what you're also doing, if you wanted to get this off the field as well, remember you can just link it off with another dragon. It's kind of entirely up to you. And then what you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to use the graveyard effect of your Destruction Sword of Memories. So you're going to banish this. This will then allow you to banish the fusion materials, being your Buster Blader and then any dragon monster. I tend to go with Spirit because I'm not planning to use Spirit to lock my opponent down. And this will get us our Buster Blader, the Dragon Destroying Swordsman. We're not done yet because we still have the quick effect of the Buster Dragon. So this is going to allow us to target the Buster Dragon Destruction Sword from the grave and equip it to our Buster Blader, the Dragon Destroyer, meaning that our opponent cannot access the extra deck. We still have 3 more cards in our hand to play with. We've still got True Light if we really wanted to bring back Blue Eyes and Sage. It's entirely up to you. We've obviously got the Spirit Dragon here as well that can tag itself out after negating in the graveyard, and this would then give you that nice negation as well in the Spirit Ultimate Dragon on top of it. So that's it for the entire profile, the extra deck and the combo to give you a bit of an idea of what the deck can still do right now. And again, if you want to play some more non-engine, you can do sub out the Bistils. The Bistils don't really affect what you're trying to achieve here. It's more so for the environment you're going to. And if there's a lot of theme splits, they're going to be a lot more consistent for you. If not, change it around and adapt it to what suits you best. For now, as absolutely always, stay safe and of course, happy dueling.